Hi, I'm Ryan, and the passage that I chose from The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald was page 48. And in page 48, Nick is first being introduced to Gatsby, and F. Scott Fitzgerald is showing you Nick's initial thoughts and reactions to his first time meeting Gatsby. And the three literary features that I chose were dialogue, hyperbole, and metaphor. Now, the context of this passage is that Nick is at his first Gatsby party, or the parties that Gatsby throws, which are famous for being large and basically grand, and a whole bunch of people show up. And he's asking everybody, "Have you seen Gatsby? Do you know where Gatsby is? I can't find him." And of course, everybody says, "No, I haven't seen Gatsby. I don't really know where he is," because Gatsby has never made a formal appearance at his parties. And Nick is asking around, and he asks this one man, "Have you seen Gatsby?" And he mentions the invitation that was given to him by Gatsby. And this man turns around and reveals himself to be Gatsby, and this is basically what triggers Nick's huge reaction and description of the grandeur and greatness of Gatsby. Now, but after his great description, he talks to Jordan because Gatsby had to leave to take a phone call, and Nick is very happy and surprised that Gatsby made an appearance, and Jordan's just kind of like, "Yeah, that was a man named Gatsby. That's what she said." And this basically sets the mood for how Nick thinks about Gatsby compared to how other people think of Gatsby. Now, I believe the main point of this passage that F. Scott Fitzgerald is trying to show you is to give Gatsby a big, grand entrance, and he definitely does do this. He gives great descriptions of Gatsby through the use of metaphors and other literary devices, and he basically shows you how he wants you to feel through Nick's thoughts. He wants you to relate with Nick. He wants to show you that Gatsby is great, and that he lives this grandeur life, and that he wants to set the mood for how the rest of the story is going to go with him. And he does a great job of this, and he definitely did give Gatsby a great entrance. Now, the three literary devices that I chose were metaphor, hyperbole, and dialogue. I chose metaphor because there are many great metaphors that Nick uses to compare Gatsby. One of them is, he smiled understandingly, much more understandingly, the kind of smile that you would only see 4 or 5 times in your life. And I think that this is a great metaphor to kind of express how Nick feels about Gatsby, which is a great level of admiration towards him, and that he is like young, youthful, and like full of life, and he wants the reader, you himself, to picture Gatsby just like that. I also used hyperbole because there's a lot of exaggeration used in this passage. Like again, this is kind of the smile that you only saw 4 or 5 times in your life. And he also mentions that when Nick looked at Gatsby, it was as if nothing else mattered, which I think is a pretty big exaggeration. And he uses exaggeration for 2 reasons, I think. One, to show that Nick is intoxicated, and to show that kind of his feelings or emotions are amplified under alcohol. And second, to, again, give Gatsby a big entrance, and to show that he is a big person, he is grand, and most of all, he is great. And he does a great use of this through hyperbole. Now, dialogue is barely used in this passage, but I think that it's the small times that it's used, it comes across effectively. Now, at the very first part of the passage, he's talking to Gatsby. He says, "Oh, have you seen the host? Have you seen Gatsby?" And Gatsby simply turns around and just says 2 words, "I'm Gatsby." And this basically just triggers Nick to go off on this huge expose of how grand Gatsby is, and given this big description. And he does a great job of this through dialogue. Now, I was overall very satisfied with this passage. I think it gave me, myself, and many other people the kind of vision that F. Scott Fitzgerald wanted to give it to you. It kind of, in a way, surprised me, and I was kind of surprised by the kind of devices and features that F. Scott Fitzgerald used to coax the reader in a way to side with Gatsby, or to see that Gatsby is also great. So I was overall very pleased with this passage, and it kind of made me feel a little happy, and to show that this great character is going to be shown for the rest of the book. And that is my presentation. Thank you for watching.